Welcome back to Chapter 6, Video 10. We're going to have an actual walkthrough of how the passing by out, which is a reference type, it works. Now, in the example I've provided for you guys under the countries right here is when I run this, what I wanted to do is I want to open up a file containing all the countries in North America and list them in the list box and also count how many countries there are. You could ask yourself, how many countries are there in North America? You might say, oh, there's 3, 4, whatever it is. So let's find out. So I'm going to put a breakpoint on here to do a slow step-by-step walkthrough of how this code works to explain it. Now, so far the code works because of course I haven't clicked the button here called open file. That's my actual open file, which is getting all the countries button right here. The breakpoint is below it. But as soon as I click on that, of course, it stops it and the pointer is at my breakpoint. Now F11 moves me on, which simply just declares a variable here called the file name, and the file name is the name of the file that contains all the countries in North America. Now, if you notice what I did here is I created a method here called get the file name, and I'm going to pass the argument here by a reference type called the out reference type. And you have to ask yourself, well, why don't I use ref here? Well, I'm using ref because file name hasn't been initialized yet. We haven't told the computer what the file name is yet. So I cannot pass something by reference if I don't have it. So I have to use the out. That's what we were explaining in the previous video. So I'm going to do that. So as soon as I push F11, it should open up this one down here called get the file name. And it's going to pass it into this method right here. Now if you look, it's passing, this is out, and I have to use out and out. That has to be the same. That is going to be a string. I declared it as a string. That's the same. And then selected file name is null. I'm actually passing nothing into this method right here. And you're thinking, well, that seems a little bit odd. But not really, because we just haven't selected the file name yet. The method is intended to select the file name. And sure enough, as soon as I push down here, it says if the open file dialog box is the actual file name we want, and I click OK, then let's proceed. So when I hit F11, it should open up the file dialog box. And there it is. I'm going to select the text file here called North American TXT and click Open. Now as soon as I do that, of course this object has now got that file in it, but of course selected file doesn't until I actually push F11. So when I push F11, this right here should contain the path and the file name. So I'll push F11, there it goes, and sure enough there pops in right into the selected file. So now I've now assigned my variable, because I have to. That's one of the conditions of using passing by out, is you can pass by out if there's nothing there, but you must assign it inside of the called method. So now that's been true, I should drop down to here and then go back to the calling return point. And now if you look, my file name, sure enough, I've got my file name. So perfect. Now I got the file name, I can call another method called let's get the countries. And I've got the file name that I want to get the countries for. Perfect. So as soon as I click on F11, it'll take me to another method here called get the countries, which is right there. And sure enough, what this program's going to do, it's simply going to go through and it's going to create a stream reader object here in memory. It's going to assign the name here that we just selected. It's going to enter all the information. It's going to clear out that list box here, and it's going to loop, and it's going to grab all the names. And you might have thought there was 3, but you can see here there's going to be a lot more than 3. As I'm scrolling through, I'm just kind of guessing. I don't know how many I've got, and I don't have a watch window here to actually track my count here. So eventually what will happen is, there it goes, it finishes. I close my file, of course, always do that. And I'm going to display what is my label count. So that'll be right here. And it returns back to the calling program, and it outputs my results. And here's a list of all of the countries. And I did this, and I accomplished this using a modularized method called getFileName, and I got the file name by passing the file name as a out reference. I could not have used a regular ref. If I was to type in ref here, it would come up with an error in there. All right, so I hope that makes some sense. I'll see you in the next video.